station, 1370 WOCA.
Ocala.
All right, 5 minutes after 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. Stroke is a serious thing. I don't know if you call it a disease, but it's a serious thing. I remember what Robin had a Bell's palsy. If you look that up, you'll see it looks almost like a stroke. We were so panicking and took Robin right to Ocala Health, and they remembered Robin for having been guest in the studio and whisked her back there. But of course, I'm sure they had nothing, knowing Robin had nothing to do with it. They saw the signs and made sure it was not a stroke, which it wasn't, thank goodness. Michelle DeCarlis knows stroke very well. She is the stroke coordinator for Ocala Health, and Stroke Awareness Month is this month, the month of May, and we're here to talk. Michelle is here to talk to us about strokes. Good morning, Michelle.
Good morning.
Good to see you again.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting us.
I was telling you off the air, and I hope it's okay to say this. It was a news item that one of the school board members apparently had trouble speaking 6 weeks after having had a stroke. It was Angie Boynton, for those who want to know, and hopefully she's doing okay.
Yeah, I hope so.
But is that unusual that 6 weeks later you're still having trouble?
It depends, because the strokes can evolve, so it might not have been completed, and so it's kind of like a recurrent stroke in a way. I'm not sure. I don't know anything about this case.
But that happens, I guess.
That does happen, yes.
So there are different degrees of strokes, because I've known some people that have had a stroke and put them in a coma and then they died.
Yeah, and there's two types of stroke. There is what we call an ischemic stroke, which is caused by like a clot, be it a fatty deposit or a blood clot, and it blocks the blood going through the artery, so it's not getting to your brain. And then there's a hemorrhagic type of stroke, which is actually a brain bleed. And that can occur from hypertension, uncontrolled hypertension over time. It kind of weakens the vessel and it bursts. Or it could be caused from an aneurysm, which is a weakened vessel in itself. And then there's usually an outpouching, and then that also can burst. So there's a couple different things that can happen, and each one requires a little bit different treatment and monitoring in that.
And any preventive things that we can do?
Yeah, the statistics say that 80% of all strokes are preventable.
Really?
Really.
Okay, I'm all ears.
Yep, it comes down to our lifestyle.
Because I never needed a doctor. And then I was telling you off there about this thing on my leg, and it's like every week I got to go to. It just takes a long time.
Yeah.
So am I getting old? Is that what it is? Just say no.
Unfortunately, that's one of the things we can't control, but that's a risk factor for just about everything. But yeah, our diet, they say what's good for your heart is good for your brain. So if we eat a heart-healthy diet, that's also good for our brain, because we're talking circulation.
Right.
Okay. Exercise is very good for that. That will help keep your cholesterol level down. And then we have things like if you smoke, stop smoking. If you do have high blood pressure, know what your numbers are and make sure you're taking your medication as they prescribed it for you.
Yeah.
So it's very important that you monitor your blood pressure.
Let me ask you something, not to bring another name into this conversation, but Anthony James, who's running for the school board, and he's a good friend of ours, he comes in here and talks about traveling every Wednesday. But he was one of the volunteers at the boxing event to raise money for the vets a couple of Fridays ago. And at the check-in, his blood pressure was high, so the doctor said, sorry, you can't box.
Oh, okay.
What would happen? I mean, does high blood pressure cause those vessels to break? Is that why?
Over time it does, but if he's in a boxing arena, there's traumatic injury that could happen at that point.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
And if he's already got high blood pressure and we don't know perhaps how long he's been having high blood pressure.
You know what he said? He attributed it to he had the flu or a cold. Anyway, he had been taking like NyQuil and that kind of thing. So does that elevate the blood pressure?
It can sometimes. That's why they tell you if you're on any blood pressure medications to always check with the pharmacist for any of the over-counter medications for cold and flu and that, because it can have a direct effect on that.
Right.
So if a person goes to Ocala Health and they're having the stroke, how do you make them comfortable and get them well again?
Well, the first thing, we hope that they've called 911. That's the first thing. If
First thing you
anybody
should do, huh?
takes, if you notice somebody that's having the symptoms of stroke, call 911. What that does is that alerts the hospital, because when EMS comes, they're going to be calling the
That's scary,
hospital
huh?
and saying, we have a stroke alert here, okay? And then they come into the hospital. Our stroke alert team is there waiting, so that we can take them right to CAT scan, because we want to take a picture of the brain, because we want to see what type of stroke it is. It's not that we're going to know for sure that it's an ischemic stroke, but we're going to know if there's a bleed. And that's what we want to rule out, is if it's a bleed. Because if it's not a bleed, we have an opportunity, if they're eligible, that we can give them the clot-busting drug called Alteplase, which is TPA.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
Oh, okay.
And that has to be given, the sooner it's given, the better, and the better outcome for the patient. Okay, so that's the main purpose. If you notice somebody, as soon as you notice those symptoms, you want to call 911, get them to the hospital as soon as possible, because there's a time
Right away.
limit on how long we can give that medication.
And Michelle, you have a phone call, it looks like. So
Oh,
let me take that call. Good morning. Thank you for calling and for waiting. You're on the air with Michelle DeCarlis.
Yes, good morning, Michelle and everyone. Is it a stroke that if you think you're having one or seeing somebody having one, to give them aspirin, or is that for the heart?
That's for the heart. You don't want to give an aspirin because we haven't determined what type of stroke it is. And if it's a bleed, we don't want to have the propensity to increase any bleeding in the brain.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And a stroke isn't selective. It could happen to anyone of any age.
Correct. And, it's funny you say that, because the American Heart, being Stroke Month, just sent out some statistics, which is kind of sad in a way, because it says that although stroke is often thought of as a disease of adulthood, it is among the top 10 causes of death in children
No way.
and young adults
Top 10.
between the ages of 5 and 19.
Oh.
And is there something typical among those children? Are they obese? Are they
I'm not aware. I
Not
really,
not
I'm
necessarily,
not sure.
huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
So, that's another reason. We just really have to focus on stroke. And
Well,
I'm
that
glad
is
we have
scary.
Stroke Awareness Month.
Is there a headache or something? You know what I want to ask before I ask you that? Whatever happens with the veins and the arteries in your brain that is defined as a stroke, could that same thing happen in the veins or the arteries elsewhere on your body?
Well, yeah, they can get blocked. Any of our circulation area can get blocked.
But it's just more dangerous around your head, around your
Right.
brain, because
Right. Or in the heart.
okay, those are the
So,
two.
yeah.
Or your lungs, I guess. All right, maybe
Yep.
any organ, huh?
Well, in your lungs, what could happen is you could have what we call a pulmonary embolus.
Oh,
and
that's part of stroke?
No, I'm just saying, if that was
So
to
it's a-
block in your
So physically, it's
Lung.
the same thing.
kind of, sort of.
Okay.
So can a stroke be confused with a heart attack? Or is there
No.
definitely two
It's
separate things?
Definitely two separate things.
Oh.
Yeah, because it's and what it's based on is like symptomology. So with the heart, you're probably going to have chest pain. You still could have nausea and vomiting. You might just not feel well, which can also be a stroke. That's why, because a lot of people will have, like you just said a minute ago, a headache, nausea,
Yeah.
vomiting. It might not be the where my left side can't move, or the slurred speech. So you want to, anything that comes on suddenly, like a sudden headache, or suddenly your left arm, it doesn't feel right, you can't move it, or either arm. Your eyesight, if all of a sudden you can't see, or it's very blurred,
Oh, no.
you
Really?
want to be aware of those things. And a lot of times it can be a TIA, but you're not going to know any of that.
What does that
unless
mean?
you-
What is TIA?
Oh, sorry. Transient ischemic attack.
Okay.
And what that is, meaning that the clot, what's causing the blockage, isn't there forever, like with a stroke. It
Okay.
kind of moves.
Kind of like a hairball in the drain.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. Yeah. So
Caught
that's
that
why it's
up.
transient, and the symptoms are usually transient, meaning they don't last that long.
Oh, really? Oh, my goodness.
But that's a big warning sign that a stroke could be coming down the road. So you want to take it seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if I'm imagining it in my mind like an animation going on, okay, so I have a tube that represents the vein, and you have a little ball in that tube, and that represents whatever the blood clot is, okay? When the vein gets to other smaller veins, is that when it gets stuck? It's going through a big vein, all of a sudden, whatever that clot is, it won't fit through the area?
Okay.
Because I'm thinking that the veins, the capillaries are smaller than veins, right?
We're talking arteries.
Oh, arteries. So veins is not the... I'm using the wrong words. Okay.
That's okay.
Oh.
So we're talking arteries, okay? And we only have so many arteries in the brain. And wherever the clot is, what's after that clot is going to die off unless we do something.
Get something done right away.
Right.
And that's what causes paralysis?
Correct.
Oh, my
Correct.
goodness. So the sooner you get to the hospital, the better.
The better, right. Because the drug is for what we call your last known well. So when was the last time you were well until the symptoms came on? Sometimes that's the same time, sometimes it's not, because a lot of people wake up with stroke-like symptoms, and then we don't know when the last known well is, or we know it was the night before, and we're already outside our window of opportunity.
Oh.
So, and there's been doing more research on that, because they're finding out through some research that perhaps what's waking these people up is the stroke symptoms. So there's more research on that.
Yeah, really.
Things might change down the road. So,
Wow.
Michelle, we need to take a little break, and we'll be right back. I want you, as listeners, to know that you are invited to call. We want you to call. If you have a question for Michelle, we're talking specifically about strokes. So if you want to call in and ask your question, we'll be back in about, 2.5 minutes. The phone number is 622-9622. And, of course, we'll also give you information so that you can call Michelle or Ocala Health in general at their location, if you don't want to call a radio show. But we'd love to hear from you. We all learn when you ask a question, so we'll take a break and be right back.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. It'll be sunny on this Thursday, breezy and much less humid, the high 78 to 82. Then clear and cool Thursday night with lows in the 50s. For Friday, a comfortable day with sunshine and low humidity, high 76 to 80. For Saturday, mostly sunny and warmer, high 80 to 84. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
Whether you're building it up or knocking it down, get it done, rent it now. Sunbelt Rentals is here to make your job a little easier. Our knowledgeable staff will help you find the right equipment for any job, big or small. Did you know that Sunbelt Rentals carries heaters, air conditioners, generators, lighting, traffic control, and so much more? So whether you're building it up or knocking it down, we've got the equipment you need. Get it done, rent it now. And right now, for a limited time, you can have it for less. Just by mentioning this ad, if you rent it Friday afternoon, you can keep it the whole weekend and only pay for one day. But this is a limited time offer, so stop into Sunbelt Rentals today, Northwest 27th, just a quarter mile east of I-75. For more information, just give us a call, 352-369-9101, 352-369-9101. Sunbelt Rentals, get it done, rent it now, 352-369-9101.
Are you in need of custom screen printing, embroidery, or promotional items? Then look no further and come visit the brand new Legacy Team Sales. LTS is conveniently located off 17th Street next to Armstrong Homes in beautiful Ocala. We offer the best prices and highest quality products for your company, team, school, or nonprofit. Whether looking for screen printed shirts, embroidered polos, or travel team uniforms, you'll be sure to find it at Legacy Team Sales. Come visit our new 27,000 square foot facility. Our friendly and knowledgeable sales staff will assist you in every part of your custom purchase. LTS carries the hottest brands in the industry like Under Armour, Russell, Mizuno, Asics, Badger Sports, Gildan, Pacific, Ogio, and many more. At LTS, screen printing embroidery is done in-house and we guarantee customer satisfaction. Stop by, give us a call, or check us out on the web at shoplts.com. Remember the name, LTS.
20 minutes after 11 o'clock. It doesn't get any more beautiful than it is right now. Just enjoy that day and go outside. You know what we were just talking about during the break? We don't move around enough. So go outside and move around. Michelle DeCarlis is here. If you have a question about strokes, this is a good time to call. The number is 622-9622. Michelle is the stroke coordinator for Ocala Health. May is Stroke Awareness Month, and one of the things you're making us aware of is not only the symptoms, but the fact that we got to get into the hospital. You can't say, I don't need anything.
Right.
But how do we know? I mean, how do we know it's not just a normal headache? What is the, isn't there an acronym FAST or FIST or something?
Yes, there is.
Okay, what is that? FAST?
FAST, the F stands for face, okay? So you want to ask the person to smile. And if you notice that one side is drooping, we're looking for symmetry. So if the face isn't symmetrical, if one side's lower than the other, then that could be a sign of stroke.
And if, not to stop you, but that's what Robin had with the Bell's palsy. I thought she was talking like a pirate. I thought she was just being silly.
And the slurred speech can go along with that.
It wasn't so slurred in her case, right?
Okay.
It was just the mouth was drooping.
Okay, and that happens.
And the
a
weird
lot.
thing is, the drooping part was the good part, right?
Yeah.
It was the other part that was,
I was trying to cover it with my hair so nobody would notice. I knew it'd go away by itself. I didn't know what it was. So I thought,
so
it's going away.
drooping face could be something minor like a Bell palsy.
It could, but we don't know.
Yeah, okay.
And that's the whole reason you need to really get to the hospital. Then you have A for arm, okay? So you want to ask the person to raise their arms in front of them. And if you notice that one arm is drifting, like they can't keep it
It's hard to hold it up? Okay.
Right, then that's an indication they could be having a
really?
stroke also.
Okay. So face, arm.
And then S for speech, like we talked about, some slurred speech,
Okay.
So if they have that, and just ask them to say something simple, just the, Rover, the dog, whatever, something like that. Just real simple and see if it sounds slurred to you.
Okay, no names of people out of Iran because I can't pronounce any of them.
Yeah, that's true.
Or Iceland.
Iceland is worse. Ooh, Iceland is worse.
Is it?
Have you ever heard of the volcano? You know the volcano in Iceland that goes off every now and then? Do you know what it's called?
No.
Oh, hold on. I got it right here. Are you ready for this? Oh, wait a minute. Where is it? Oh, maybe I've called the volcano. Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on.
Because it's fun. I still can't pronounce it.
Oh, yeah. Now, let me... I don't have it spelled here. I don't know how it's spelled, but listen to how it sounds.
Eyjafjallajökull.
Yes, I could see where you might think that person was having a stroke.
Can you believe that's how you say the name of that volcano? When that was in the news, Michelle.
Oh, my gosh.
Every time I had to read the name, I just used that recording. I said, forget it. I'm not even going to try that one.
And that's another thing with patients or people that might be having a stroke. They might look at you and they might not be talking normal. It might sound kind of like gibberish or kind of like baby talk. And that's another sign, they're not able to get their words out, or they're having trouble finding the right word. Like if you were to give them, ask them what the bottle of water was, and they're just looking at it, and they say that it's, Kleenex or something. They can't find the right words.
Okay, can I make a connection between my leg and the stroke conversation? Because I have a question about supplements.
Okay.
Listen to this. Okay, so my leg condition is because there's a vein not bringing the blood back up. That's what my problem is. Okay. So it's being taken care of, which is very good. To thank Robin for telling me to go to the hospital. Okay. The doctor, Dr. Joviak, who's been in the studio, she's awesome, has helped me out so much, and she has me taking these supplements called LArginine or something?
Yes.
LArginine?
L-arginine.
And if you read, like you go online and you read, what is this for? This is for circulatory health.
Okay. I wasn't familiar with that one.
Okay, so I'm wondering, does that help like in all the body and the blood vessels in the head? And
to be honest, I don't know. I am not really familiar with that supplement.
Because I'm not a doctor person. I don't usually go to the doctor at all. But I'm surprised that a doctor, and I'm glad she did, because the one I read up on it, I said, wow, it makes sense.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure she wouldn't have prescribed it unless.
Sure,
Yeah.
yeah.
But I'm just not familiar with that. But yeah, supplements. There's a lot of evidence behind a lot of the supplements out there.
So if
that are
you
good
think,
for-
we were talking about the children who get strokes,
Yeah.
which is kind of sad, and we were saying off the air, do you think that's lifestyle? Are we too sedentary? And it sounds like you think we are.
I think we are as a nation.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
we need to get out there and move. And I'm not just talking exercise, but just move. Because you look at a person's day, they get up from bed, they
Yeah,
go sit at the
yeah.
kitchen table, have coffee, then they get in the car, they drive to work,
Yeah,
they get
yeah.
to work, they sit at their desk all day, they drive back home. They
That's me. You're describing me.
So, we spend a lot of time not moving.
Yeah,
So
really.
if we would just get out and move and then incorporate exercise, watch our diet,
Yeah.
take our medications as we should, because I didn't even mention diabetes, I don't think. Diabetes and
No.
stroke go
Oh, really?
very much hand in hand. So if you're diabetic, you want to make sure you keep your your blood glucose under control. So, it's keeping up with the medications your doctors prescribe, but also going in for maybe more than just once a year for a physical, and checking your blood pressure at home, and just kind of keeping an eye on things, checking your blood sugar, making sure everyth's staying in a well-controlled range.
How do you check your blood pressure at home?
They have.
Oh, you buy one of those cuffs or something?
They have the ones that either go on your arm, and then they have some wrist ones too.
Yeah, the lady used the wrist one over at the doctor's office.
yeah.
What about those ones like in a pharmacy? Are they reliable?
Yeah, they do get them calibrated.
Yeah, okay.
So that would be great to use that.
No, we left off with T.
Oh,
Fast.
T.
We had FAS.
Oh, yeah. What's the T stand
Gotta
for?
figure out T.
The T stands for time, because time is critical.
Oh.
So if you notice these symptoms, as soon as you notice them, call 911. Then that 911,
That's
when
it.
they get there, they look at you, they evaluate you, and then they're calling the hospital. And then the hospital's team is getting ready.
Wow.
Oh, okay. So they're all set to go when you arrive.
Correct.
You don't lose any time.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Don't you, as a medical professional, get scared when you have the emergencies come in, because you have to do everything right?
I think it's kind of like an adrenaline or that gets into your blood. Just kind of gets you, aware,
Really?
and
Yeah,
you do what you have
So
to do.
that fear isn't part of
Yeah,
it until
no.
everything's all over,
Yeah.
and then you...
Then you debrief and think about what just happened.
Robin and I do music at assisted living facilities.
Oh, how nice.
And every once in a while, there'll be an emergency happening right while we're playing music, and there's somebody going out on a gurney. And there was one lady, and she was in a wheelchair, and she was, and the nurses were saying, "Can you talk? Can you talk? Can you stick your tongue out?" I remember that one.
Yeah.
And they were basically checking to see if she was having a stroke, and I don't know what the conclusion was, but she went away in the hospital. Yeah.
So it's,
in an ambulance to a hospital.
Yeah. So recognizing the symptoms, and then once you recognize the symptoms, making that call to 911, and then when you get to the hospital, then we, take care of you.
But a stroke even happens to people that do everything right for their
Oh, of
mental
course.
state and their physical state. Why
bec-
is that?
That's because of those risk factors we can't change. Aging, genetics.
She looked at me when she said that. Did you see that?
I did.
Because you made that comment earlier. So, and our genetics, our DNA. So there are other things involved. So we can only change the ones that we
Yeah, what are you
can
gonna do?
change.
Yeah,
those
yeah.
we can't do anything about. But
Wow.
there's some biggies out there. There's still a lot
Lose
of
weight.
people
Lose
that-
weight must be a big one, right? You have to, yeah.
So stop smoking. A lot of people still smoke.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, and we say this is good for stroke, but this is good for everything.
Everything, yeah,
it's
yeah.
not just stroke, but as we find out, our lifestyle has affected our health.
Well, you've got the best personality.
You do. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. You're so
you.
bright and
Wonderful.
cheerful. I love that. Michelle, thank you for coming in. Give
Thank you.
the listeners information to contact you or to contact Ocala Health.
Okay, we have a health information line, and I'll give you that number. It's 1-800-530-1188, and you can actually speak with a nurse. You can get a physician referral if you would like, and they can also tell you about what classes we offer.
Do you know what? I wanted to throw in one other thing that if a person has had a stroke, because there are two sponsors to this segment. One is Ocala Health, the other is Strive Rehabilitation. So I would think rehabilitation would be a really important part after the fact, right?
Critical. The stroke is the leading disability out there for people. It's sad, and we spend like $34 billion a year on stroke disability for patients. Yeah, so rehab is essential.
Michelle DeCarlis, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We will take a little break. We'll be right back. Fun with Joe is up next.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. Donald Trump's got a to-do list, and on it, selecting a running mate.
The presumptive Republican nominee told Fox News he's looking for someone with political experience.
I would want somebody that would help me from a legislative standpoint, getting things passed.